Hello, we're making pestos today. One is a garlic scape pesto. With that, those are the pre-flowers of the garlic plant, and they have a mild garlic flavor. That's this one right here. And then we're making a pesto with basil, and that's this one right here. We have all the ingredients in the store. We have scapes in the store, we have walnuts, we have oil, lemon juice, one of my favorite lemon juices, and we have Parmesan cheese. It's the time of year to do pesto, so have fun with it. You'll need a food processor. Other than that, it's a very simple and easy thing to do. Hey, hello, thanks for being at Cooking with Miller again. And today we're going to do pesto. One is a garlic scape pesto because, as you can see, I have a lot of garlic scapes because I grew garlic, and this is my year's supply of garlic scapes. We're also going to do a pesto basil, and we have all those ingredients here in the co-op. Let's see, now to start with, pestos are basically just a green spread. It has 4 to 5 ingredients. In the scape pesto, we have scapes, which are the tops of garlics, the part that will seed out. And if you look at this one, you can see I cut it off here at the stem end. This part right here is a flower. And as it ages, it'll turn into a really pretty, almost like firework. And a whole bunch of little garlics will come out of that. So traditionally what you do is you plant garlic bulbs in the late fall, all the way up until the ground is almost frozen. And then in the springtime they come up and they start creating bulbs. When the scapes come out, or when you see scapes, it's a kind of a curlicue sort of thing. It's pretty easy to notice. You, at some point, cut them off. And it seems to me that you've got about 3 weeks to harvest your scapes. So you don't have to get a whole bag like I did, but these are my baby scapes. So we're gonna start by making scape pesto. And with that, you'll need a bunch of scapes, and I have a bunch of scapes here. You don't have to be too particular about them. Some recipes will tell you to take this top off. I don't find that as necessarily advantageous. I think that usually most everything, the flavor is everywhere in the plant. And it may, as you let it, the scapes turn into a flower, they may be objectionable, but right now they're fairly early and I don't think they are. So you'll need a food processor to do this. You can do it by hand. The pesto that's made with basil is easy to chop by hand, whereas the pesto with the garlic scapes is harder to chop by hand. So you whiz up the scapes. I wish you were here because that's a nice mild garlic flavor. Put a little olive oil now. You want still some of those big scape parts to grind up. We're getting there. Maybe a little bit more olive oil. This is one of the cases where it's nice to do more than less, because it's hard to get them to grind up when you're having a small amount, but we'll get there. So I have a variety of walnuts and pine nuts, and I think I'm going to use walnuts. So we want about a cup, a half a cup of walnuts. And if you smell your your scape right now, it smells like a light garlicky taste. Half a cup of walnuts. And then you want about a half a cup of olive oil. We've already put some in, so we'll put in a little bit less than a half a cup. And lastly, we need to have Parmesan cheese. We carry Parmesan cheese here at the co-op that is in big chunks. That works out just fine. And then we have this Parmesan this is a fine grade. We have a medium grade, and then a what do you call it? It's like big pieces but grated, and that one's just fine too. Okay, and then we need a little bit of salt. Parmesan cheese has a lot of salt in it, so you don't need much. But this is one of those recipes that you just make as you make it. You can kind of see that this is a little bit needs a little bit more olive oil, but we're getting there very quickly now. So we'll put in a little bit more olive oil. There we go. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Now we have a nice scape pesto. It should have a little bit of a garlicky taste, nutty taste. I'll get a spoon and find out. Oh, yum. I know what my dinner is tonight. So we're going to make basil pesto now. And for you that noticed it, I did not put any lemon juice in with the scape pesto, which I just did, and that's how easy it is to adjust it. So now there's lemon juice in here. Lemon juice is nice because it helps it keep its flavor and color longer. Okay, so now we're going to make pesto basil. And what we want to start with is basil. We have about a cup of fresh basil. And we're going to use garlic this time. We could use the garlic scapes in this one, but I thought we should go the other way. So 3 cloves of garlic. I think. Yep, that's right. And then we'll grind this up. Get that garlic a little bit smaller and the basil leaves. Okay, you see that's kind of ground up. Now you want to put in your olive oil, which is about a half a cup. Parmesan cheese, about another half a cup. And this time we're going to use a half a cup of pine nuts. And I toasted these pine nuts ahead of time. A little bit of salt. And this time we'll get the lemon juice in right toward the end. Then we'll put a little lemon juice in, a little bit more olive oil. If you were to use this on pasta noodles, you could thin it out more with olive oil if you wish to. Sometimes I feel like it can get so thick that it's hard to toss in with the noodles. You can use I can't remember what it's called, zucchini that's julienne instead of pasta noodles if you want a gluten-free option. Okay, there's pesto that's made with basil, and we'll take a little test of it, and garlic cloves. Oh, whoa, that's really good. So I use pine nuts in this one. You don't have to use pine nuts, you can use walnuts. Pine nuts are kind of expensive. Again, I like to toast the pine nuts, I like to toast the walnuts. It's a yummy thing to have during the summer. Pesto is really fun to have around. It lasts about a week in the refrigerator, and remember that you can put it into smaller bags and freeze it. Some people like to make a big pile of it at once. And I've noticed that our grated Parmesan cheese is disappearing quite fast this time of year, and that is because I'm sure people are making pesto. Today we made pestos, two different kinds of pestos, one made with fresh basil and one made with the scapes, the pre-flowers on the garlic plant. Scape pesto is you can only get scapes early in the spring, if you call this the spring. I guess it's kind of like the beginning of summer right now, but there's about a 6-week window when you can get scapes, and they're well worth the time to get them and to use them. You can refrigerate or freeze both pestos, and they come out just fine when you defrost them. You can use, pestos are fun to use on toast. So like if you get our baguettes that we have here and make them into crostinis, brush a little olive oil on them, put them in the the oven to crisp up until they turn a little bit brown. Then you can arrange them on a platter and spread the pesto on top of the toast. In fact, that's what I think I'm going to do tonight. You can do regular bread, you can use them as a dip like chips. You can put pesto on pasta, so you can make a pesto. Instead of using tomato sauce, you can use a pesto sauce on your fresh pasta. You can julienne, zucchini, and you can use that as the base instead of regular wheat noodles. It's a very simple thing. It just took us about, I don't know, what's 4 minutes to make the pestos, and you can have enough to have for several meals during the week. So have fun with pesto, and we'll see you next time.